Welcome back to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army. I know you could have been anywhere in this world today. But you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, we have an action-packed show. But before I begin the show, I'd like to state my intentions. And my intention is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transitions and beyond. So that is what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. And also what we do is we give you the soul claps for you appearing here on Transition Tuesdays. Okay, Transition Army, I appreciate you guys for joining us, showing up and showing out each and every Transition Tuesday. I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. So let's get after it. In transition news, the Eastern and Western Conference Finals of the NBA are now here. They are here, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army. They are here. And in the West, the OK Thunder versus the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the Spurs, they took game one. They won the game one in double overtime on the road, the San Antonio Spurs. And Wemby, as they call him, the alien, he went for 41 points and 24 rebounds. Man, this guy is unreal, and he showed it. Now, my question I have for you, Transition Army, is can the Spurs win this series? Because they did their job. What you want to do is get a split. So they won the first game. But can they win this series against the defending champion, the OKC Thunder? Can they do it? Man, and speaking of doing it, we got Dolores from Jersey in the building. What's going on, Dolores? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome, 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 sister-in-law. Welcome. Good to see you. All right. So can they win this series against the OKC Thunder? Now, I'll start first. I think they're going to come close, but I think they're going to eventually lose this series to the OKC Thunder. Too much experience. You know, I think you better get Wemby and these Spurs now when you can, because it's going to be a situation. This guy's going to really own this league. So you better get to him now, and this is the time to get to him. And I think OKC, I think they will win this series, but they're making it, you know, rather adventurous because they won game one and they did their job. What you want to do is just split, especially on the road. If you could just split, man, you know, you did your job. You did your job, man. And speaking of the Spurs, I got to address this. Man, what's up with Anthony Edwards, a.k.a. Ant-Man, waving the white flag with 8 minutes left to go in the game versus the Spurs in the semifinals? What is up with this? So the OG and myself, I gotta talk to Ant-Man here. And if he was listening, man, you can't do that, you know, because Ant-Man, you are the leader of the team, clearly the leader of the team. You can't wave the white flag. You can't go to the other teams, you know, other team and shake their hands because your night is done. But there's 8 minutes left to go in the game. Anything can happen. And what does that say about your teammates? When you say you have no faith, you have no faith in your teammates. So again, this game, this series is over with. You can't do that, you know. So Ant-Man has to really work on his maturity here, because he is going to be the face of the league. But these are things you cannot do. Wave the white flag with 8 minutes left to go in the game. I'll give you down by 100 points. You got to set the example as the leader of that team. So hopefully Ant-Man learns from this, but you can't do that. You can't wave the white flag and go sit down and you can't do that. Just cannot be done. Can't do that. So wanted to talk about that in there. So again, question, Transition Army, can the Spurs win this series, the Western Conference Finals? Can they win? Again, they take game one. Now, let's talk about the East. In the East, your New York Knicks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Game one is at Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, tonight on Transition Tuesdays. And as I always say, something always goes down on a Transition Tuesday. So that's what we have here. Man, So I'm going to talk a little bit briefly about this series. But speaking, against the Cavaliers, but speaking about the Cavaliers, again, Detroit Pistons. What up, though? How can you guys lose a game 7 on your home court? That can't happen. And get blown out. This game was a snoozer the whole game. Detroit never had a lead in the whole game. Lost by like 30 points. How can that happen, Detroit? Especially yours, Detroit, you Pistons. You guys were coming for the Knicks. Oh, I want the Knicks. I want to play the Knicks. Yeah, we owe you guys from last year. You didn't even get out of this round. You talking about you want to play the New York Knicks. Come on now. You got to take care of business. But again, we talk about the maturity of it all. Like from an Ant-Man, we talked about it. Now, the Detroit Pistons. Again, young team had a phenomenal year this year. First place in the Eastern Conference. But again, this can be a sign of maturity and learning from this experienced Detroit Pistons. And then we'll see you next year, okay? We'll see you next year. But let's talk about the series against the Cavaliers. Again, who is going to win this series? I'm a little biased because I am a Knicks fan, but this is a good matchup for the Knicks. Again, we're going to have to search out James Harden, because he's not the greatest defensive player. So again, they're going to be searching out Brunson. We got to search out Harden. We got to score every time. Whoever he's guarding has to score the basketball. That's how we have to approach this game. Whoever Harden is guarding, we have to go at him, because they are going to go at Brunson. They're going to go at Brunson immensely every play. So we got to make that happen. So I ask you guys, Transition Army, who's going to win this series between your New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers? All right, so I'm just waiting to see what you guys say about that on the text thread there. Okay, and while we're doing that, let's do this. Let's transition to the sixth guy, Drake. All right, you guys saw what happened this past Friday. Drake dropped not one, not two, but 3 albums on the same day, on that Friday. Dropped 3 of them. Now, my favorite one is Iceman. He has a lot. You know how Drake is, guys. He does songs for the guys, songs for the ladies. He mixes it up. But my favorite one is Iceman. But I gotta ask you guys, Transition Army. I had to ask you guys. Was it necessary for Drake to drop 3 albums in one day? Was that necessary to do? What do you guys think? So again, we got to keep in mind, back in the day when albums were dropped, CDs was dropped, the only guy to do something on this level was a DMX, who came out with 2 albums in the same year, and they both went platinum. So Drake, I guess he wanted to top that, and come out with 3 albums on the same day. Oh, we also got TC in the house. What up, TC? Coming in, checking in from North Carolina. What's going on, TC? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome. And checking in from Lumberton, North Carolina. Mrs. Sweetness is in the building. What's going on, Mrs. Sweetness? Welcome. So yeah, was it necessary for Drake to drop 3 albums again? And again, it's tough for me, just me, I'm sure I'm not alone, but it's really hard to listen to a Drake album straight through. Iceman, I was able to do that. Good songs. The other 2 albums, don't know. Maybe I'll give it another listen and give it another, we'll give it another, we'll rate these songs later on, you know what I mean? Seeing that they're going to be classics, but 3 albums album streams, as I say, in one day, I'm sure that's a record. That's what Drake does, but I don't know if it was necessary. We will soon see if it's going to be an instant classic. We will soon see. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, and think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory. All right? Please make sure you do that. Celebrate your victory. You got here, right? You got here. You made it here. I'm going to celebrate that. and I'm going to celebrate you guys. So that's what we're going to do here. So like that. No. Hey. Almost. Hey. There we go. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army. Hey guys, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for you watching Transition Tuesdays each and every Tuesday. And if you like this episode and our past episode, you can reach us on our YouTube channel. You guessed it. Transition Tuesdays, right? So when you go there, please like and subscribe before you leave the channel. We'll greatly appreciate it. If you haven't been following me, you can follow me on Instagram at Transition Tuesdays. You can follow me on TikTok. Where else? Transition Tuesdays. So we're everything Transition Tuesdays across the board. Everything, okay? Also, shout out to our corporate sponsor, Sweet Candy Cafe, the home of Southern Sweetness in downtown Lumberton, North Carolina. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, the show's about to end. But after the show, I want you to go to sweetcandycafe.com to order your confectionery goodies. Your taste buds will thank you. I'm going to thank you. Mrs. Sweetness thanks you. Almost 14 years in business. This is what we do here on sweetcandycafe.com. And also I want to give a shout out. This show has been dedicated to my mother-in-law, in the memory of my mother-in-law, Miss Odessa Evans McMillan. Okay, man, I'm here. You know, what a homecoming event that my sweetheart, Mrs. Sweetness, put on. Man, we talked about the caregivers. So shout out to those caregivers out there. Those people, if you're a caregiver, take a deep breath. Everything's gonna be okay. You're doing the right thing by your people that you're caring for. Everything is gonna be okay. And I just gotta give a shout out to my wife, Mrs. Sweetness, the greatest caregiver, man. And we brought mom home. So again, this episode dedicated to the life and memory of Odessa Evans McMillan. So ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, as we say in parting, happy transition, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless.